Howdy y'all, thank you for joining us today for this top 10 video for 2023, I guess 2023. Oh my God,
I've been trying to get this done.
Yeah. It's almost the end of 2023, but this is my top 10 that for my top 100 from last year. Joining me today is Brian Abshire from Jammin Outdoors, and he's going to give us his top 10 also. Definitely different opinions on top 10 games, but I mean, since we already knocked out all the 11 through 100, we've gotten all the garbage out of the way, and now we're just putting top 10.
It wouldn't be fun if we'd all just, hey, this is our favorite game. It's the same thing. It's the same ones. It wouldn't be no fun, right?
I actually argue about that with my top one. Like, really, should it be number one? This is it.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what makes us unique is people may agree with yours and people may agree with mine. So, you know.
True. But like I said, we got
up here and had the same games, it wouldn't be as fun of a video.
Yep. Willie's knocked out the garbage. We're going to talk about the top 10 now.
Yeah, I'll go first. The way I'm going to do this, though, is I'll just say a lot of good things and then put one bad thing. I mean, these are our top 10. There got to be amazing things, right? It can't just be all a bunch of negative things. They have to be...
No, all mine are all positive. There's nothing negative I can say about any of my top 10. No, there's things I can say.
Not every game is perfect, right? So you got at least one bad thing.
Well, like me, the way I made this list, and if you've seen the other videos, you know, I did this with Pub Meeple. I did it 10 times with every game. Well, this time I did it with just the top 300 games that were always showing up in my stuff. But I did it 10 times and did an average, and this is the ones that, on average, were in my top 10. This year I'm doing a lot more. Oh wow, it's like 500. I'm having to do like 3,000 matches on Pub Meeple, so we'll see how that goes. But
hey Billy, do you like animal games? My number 10 is Ark Nova.
I knew it was gonna be in your top 10. Called it. I think I know 6 or 7 of your top 10.
Ark Nova, plan and design a zoo, right? I mean, it has this special like power ability with the cards, where you can power up however you want to do it. Say you want to build a certain enclosure that costs a 3 power, and if your enclosure power is not at 3, you have to wait. So you kind of plan around either your variable player power that you have or however you want to do it in order. And then you got an income management. It has this unique ability of income management with victory points. The more victory points you're able to get in the game, you can start off like really fast with some kind of slow animals in the zoo, like a petting zoo, you know, that gets you some income at the beginning of the game, or you can wait and build up some sort of massive animal that gets you a bunch of points, and now you have the money that you need. It does have a scoring system with kind of the double scoring system on the conservation and the ticket side, and they have to cross even just for you to even to score the game.
Yeah, like kind of like a Raja the Ganges.
Yes, you have to cross. You can't just build a zoo and not worry about conservation. You can't just put animals in a zoo and not make the conservation people happy. So you got to release animals into the wild. You know, have a program where you save some sort of species that's fallen apart, and it's basically an animal game. You know, you're putting animals into a zoo, you're putting tile placement into your land that you have. You're kind of limited on space. However, those spaces may give you a certain power up. You have player powers on some of the more advanced tile placements. There's some more player powers that you can take advantage of. But overall, you're just building a zoo, and that's what makes this game so unique. There's other animal games out there and zoo games out there, but it just has that unique way of scoring points that you got to balance between the conservation and how exciting your zoo is. You do have some in-game bonuses that you can get on some of the cards, and just like one of our favorite games, Terraforming Mars, it has that tag system. If you can't figure out that tag system, you're kind of lost. You'll get kind of lost in the game. So the one bad thing I can take away from this game, it can get pretty random, and it can take
literally the thing I hate about it as much as I do.
It can take away from your initial play, right? So say you're going reptiles, and all those birds start showing up, or big, large animals, and some of the goals that you try to go for to get the victory points, those animals may not even show up. So you'll start going a direction, and then you'll have to change your whole mindset because of the randomness in the game, and there's just not enough card mitigation to try and get through the deck and find those animals that you need. Maybe the expansion will fix that. Not quite sure what it has in store. I haven't read up enough on it, but that was one issue I would see. But if you could try to get past that and enjoy the game for what it is and building the zoo, that's pretty much all the bad things you really look forward to in the tag system. If you can't get used to those tags, you'll be lost.
No, I do. I like this game. It's in my top 100. Not as much as you and a lot of people do. Because of that, I do not like the randomness. To me, it reminds me very much of Terraforming Mars. You never played Terraforming Mars with just the base game. Expansion. And it's miserable. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, the expansion came out already a couple weeks ago, and that's how late we're doing this video. The expansion came out a couple weeks ago. They actually introduced some stuff I think will move this up a lot for me. I didn't know about it, but apparently there's like some different player powers, like where your cards are unique from everyone else's cards. That, and you know how that triggers stuff in my brain. The actions. The actions. It's supposed to get rid of some of the randomness. I don't think it will. I think it's going to add more to the randomness, but it will let you mill through the deck more. To where you can maybe mitigate the randomness to that degree where it's going to, yeah, because the I forgot what they call the line up in the middle, but that line up in the middle is going to flood through and rotate those cards out more. But no, this is a good game. I like it too. I like it a lot because of animals. Same with you. I like most games that have something to do with animals. If it wasn't for the length of time and randomness in this game, it'd be much higher for me. I like everything else you said about a tag system, the way you build things, the way you do things, the way your board's different from everyone else's board. You can go economy, you can do. I like everything that Brian said about it. It's just that randomness and length of time.
And if you don't like the power boards, there's just a basic side that everybody can play with.
Yeah. Which I don't think I'd ever play with. But yeah. It's a great game. I just wish it wasn't as long as it was and as random. Because I want to say the last time I played, I made the game miserable for everybody else, but I was miserable at the beginning because it literally started out like you said. I started out going one direction. None of those cards came up, or someone else was buying all those cards, so then I wasn't able to do that. And then all of a sudden, the direction I started going in, that's all that was coming up, and they weren't getting anything. So they sat there miserably as I was just moving my markers, both markers, all around. I won by a lot. It was miserable. It wasn't even pretty. It was like, when this is over, y'all got turns, and they were just like, do we even play these? Yeah. So it's a good game. It is. One of the things you talked about is actually one of the favorite things I do like about it, the way the scoring works. It's the reason Rajas of the Ganges is so high on my list is because I love that scoring system. It's so unique, it's so different.
And if you like solo, it's got a very challenging solo mode. You only get so many rounds.
I've heard that. I have not tried it solo.
Yeah, you only get so many rounds to move your markers to where they cross. If they don't cross, you lose. If you're they got those markers, your conservation and your tickets and your scoring, your victory points, they're called tickets. I guess because of how many people come to your zoo.
Yeah, come to your zoo.
Yeah, and the conservation, they have to cross. Those victory points have to cross before you even start scoring anything. So if you like solo modes, it's pretty challenging. Once again, you only have so much time, and you may not get the cards that you need. But you still have fun with it and see what you can build.
Yeah, no doubt. Good pick. I like it. My number 10 is actually brand new on my list. I did not expect this to be in my top 10 at all until I've done this average thing. It's My Father's Work. I knew I liked the game. I didn't realize I liked the game. When this popped up on my top 10 on the average, I was like, really? Like, I like this game. And then I replayed it again this year because of my challenge of playing every one of my games, all my top 100 games at least once each year. I love this game. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it's long. If I had something bad to say about it, it is long, especially if you're reading through everything. I mean, you can skip through the story, but then, like, technically the game could be played without the app. It'd just be boring. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't play without the app.
It would slow it down, right?
Well, it'd be literally, you'd just be playing on the base map, I guess, because nothing would change, and it'd just be a worker placement resource management game. But and actually, I don't think you could ever finish your final monster. It just wouldn't be possible, or your final project. No, I love this game. I don't know, something about it. I guess the way, because I've always been able to complete my final project. Even the story that made us get rid of a final project to get a new final project, I've always completed it. And I guess it's just something in my brain about how I'm able to map that out and get that done. Plus, I get to enjoy this story, because even when Abomination showed up in my top 100 games after playing it, I don't really like those type of movies. I really don't like that story or that genre. My Father's Work just, man, it hit me story. It felt thematic. It killed Abomination for me. It knocked it right the heck off my top 100 list. Not even there anymore. I love My Father's Work, and every time I play it, I just have a good time. Even if typically if someone's miserable, I'm like, this is in this game. But that one, I still have fun with it. I love it. I didn't know I liked it as much as I did until it showed up on my top 10. I was like, holy crud. Well, I guess so. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those. To me, it's one of those great story games that, based off the decisions that you make, you have that notebook of the map.
Yep.
That, oh, we made this decision. Oh, somebody burnt down one of the buildings. Now you don't have that resource to be able to go to. Or if you made a different decision, that building is still there the next phase. And it's played over your grandfather, or your great-grandfather, your grandfather, your father, or your great. It's played over those series.
You play your grandfather, you play your father.
Yeah, so it's played over a series of generations. And during those generations, something might happen in a game that the next generation, that resource availability is just not there.
Yep.
They burn down.
Like, oh, you called the butcher a witch, and that made that a good thing. Not a good thing. Yeah. No.
That's what I liked about the game, is the story mode. There's just really no like reset. It just, as you go through the story, it tells you to turn to page or map number whatever, and then there's your building that's gone, or there's something new there that you can take advantage of. And then, unfortunately, the resource you generate during the game, they don't pass down unless you have some sort of ability or card that does.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like,
I mean, I have stuff from my grandfather at my house. I have stuff.
Well, you get to carry some things over. Yeah, I think you get to carry some things over, or maybe it's only if you do biology, because you got to find a way to preserve them. Because it's talking about the science. How do you carry that down? So you got to put it in your journal. Otherwise,
it can feel overwhelming when you look at your master, whatever you're trying to pull off. The master thing is like, it requires all these resources, requires you to do all these things, and you're like, how do I pull this thing off?
I'm always looking at that from the get-go. Like, nothing else matters on what I'm doing. It's only hit that end game.
The small victory points from the smaller, what are they called? Spells or whatever? What are they?
No, it's experiments.
Experiments.
Yep.
From the smaller experiments, you can get the smaller victory points, but you pull off that big one, you get a lot of victory points.
Yeah.
The issue I was having is just I never could keep the resources around to pull off the bigger one, because I always spend them on the smaller ones.
Got to use your guy right. Go out there, but then that means you can't log them in your journal.
Yes.
I don't know. I've always
great game, great
yeah,
story.
It is.
If you like story games, the thematic wise, I mean, doing experiments is not my forte, but just like any other game, that's not my forte. We talked about it. What's the wine?
Yeah.
The wine building game.
Viticulture.
Yeah, viticulture. I'm not a wine person, but the theme for it does for me. Same thing with My Father's Work.
Yeah. You always chug along and get destroyed by that 35-point thing. But yeah, no, like I said, it's a good game, but I understand why other people don't like it. And yeah, like I said, I agree with you. I don't like the theme. The theme does not do it for me. I'm like, I don't care about this dark, I'm a bad guy thing. I really don't. But it just, something in my brain loves the way that final trigger happens. And the story. The
components on it is just amazing.
It's a lot of reading, though. You're talking 4 hours of reading. It's like reading a book. But yeah, the components were amazing. Everything's amazing. I think it can be upgraded very easily, but doesn't need to be. Everyone's always asking, like, oh, can we get an expansion? Do we need one? I mean, I would love one, but do we need more expansions? The game works.
We opened it up and we're like, man, what does this do?
Yeah.
So, well, guess what? Another animal game. Life of the Amazonia. Fairly new game that we brought in here, and man, every time we play it, it's like you're building a thriving jungle. You build this thriving jungle. It combines meeple placement and bag building. two of our most favorite things, right? You got a little bit of bag building in there with the money and your resources that you use. You got a hexagon placement of land that you can just redo land. Variable setups. I mean, I read something about 60,000 plus ways you can set this game up.
Yeah, because of the way the boards go.
The way the boards go, and I mean, every time you play this game, it's different. It's kind of like Cascadia, but then there's the track movement thing. That's what separates it from Cascadia for me. Because I really like Cascadia. You kind of still have some of the same animal scoring. You got to create synergies with your project, right? Synergies with animals, synergies with the plants that you put into your environment. And you're building this environment with these hexes that you play on the board, and you have to buy them. You can't just get the hexes. You have to actually buy them or earn them some special way. It just has a high level of areas to play, including animal cards, including some advanced ways to play that we haven't really even delved into because we always play with new people. And we just set up the basic game, which is still pretty challenging as far as that is concerned. But if you like the track management system, it's that waterfall that comes with it. You can
somewhere over there.
You can spend your resources on this track management and get the victory points doing that. Even though your environment may not be as big with a bunch of animals, you can still get the points from the track management, and it gives you some in-game bonuses and things like that. Like I said, if you like building jungle, if you like animal games, I think that Life in Amazonia is a really good one. Because it's just you're just not going to do the same thing every time you play the game. It's just so much variable setup to it. You like saving animals. It's really good. You can do set collection in it. It just has a lot of things that I enjoy. Bag building, meeple placement, and it combines the two of them. I will tell you the one thing that can really hurt people, especially new people, if you don't do the synergies right, you're not going to score a lot of points. You can't get the synergies right in your play area. It's the same thing with Cascadia. You don't do those synergies right, you're going to be thinking you're getting a lot of points, but then you actually go and score it, and you're not getting the full max you can out of that. So that's the one bad thing of the game. If you really mess up the synergies in your play area.
You're talking about the animal scoring, right?
Yeah,
the synergy in that regard.
Yeah. So you have this many animals next to this many things, or have this many plants or trees next to this, or this many animals next to a certain animal. If you don't do that right, you're not going to get a lot of points.
Yeah, no. Actually, yeah, I think it's going to be my top 100 games. I don't think it will be as high for me, only because... And I think it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's the length of time, once again. And I mean, I know you're not big on...
Well, I can tell you this. All my top 10 games, I guarantee is all going to take...
Oh, yeah. To me, it's not... It's length of time to the downtime. And I get... Because we already have people in our group that don't like this game. And it's because... And I think it's a good and a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because it makes you build your bag a little. Like you said, you have to make sure you're going to that synergy. So you have to build your bag a little slower than most bag building games will build to. Like, what was the one we played? You were actually complaining it was too fast on the bag building. Hyperborea, however I say it. Like, this is the opposite effect because... Like you said, you have to go a certain direction, but now if you're going that direction, you also have to make sure you're not going too far in that direction to where you can't dabble. Like, I put too much water in the bag when I don't have enough plant. Mm-hmm. And you got to make sure you keep plants coming. And you got to make sure you have a good amount of money so that you can still do other little things or buy things. No, I like the game a lot. Bag building, yes. Bag building's going to always trigger it for me. I know why it's compared to Cascadia because of the scoring. But other than that, it really doesn't feel much like Cascadia, just that scoring. But it's an easier scoring than Cascadia. Well, I guess tile placement to a degree. I guess you put things. It just plays different, I guess, because of the bag building. But no, you're right. It should be compared to Cascadia. It's so much easier to score than Cascadia. Like, trying to explain to someone how the synergy works on Cascadia, like, oh, this is how this scores. Well, wait. Mm-hmm. What?
Especially the birds.
Yeah. Whereas, like, in this one, like with Cascadia, you only have those 5 animals to work with. 6? 5. I think it's 5 animals. you only have those 5. So you have to do all of them. Whereas with this one, you can just do like a few of them. You can look at 1 or 2 and be like, I'm just going to do this route. And then you can have the others to dabble in if you want to, but you got to mess with one of them. Yeah. No, I like the game a lot.
Another thing it has is player power. You get a special.
No, I like that special animal, unique animal. Yep, I was about to bring that up, like, because you didn't mention it. But yeah, that's actually one of the things I do love about it is you got that one unique animal that makes you so different from everybody else that, oh yeah, you're able to do this, but see, I'm able to move down this track, no problem. No, I like that a lot. It's that slow build that is my only issue with it, and that's not a bad issue. I like it. It's just I know why other people don't like it. It's that, oh, this is all I did for my turn. Oh, this is all I did for my turn for a little while. And then all of a sudden when your turns start triggering to where, like, if you didn't build your bag right, then now it's like, oh, this turn was really lame. But no, it's a good game. Like I said, I'm positive it'll be in my top 100. It might be wrong. It could be higher.
Bad chits in your bag. You don't necessarily have to keep.
It is very easy to do that. You could also just... It has its own unique way of being able to hold the bag to where you can draw the stuff you need by just holding one over. I mean, yeah, you want to hold it over so you can spend it, but you can sometimes just hold it over so it's not in your bag again, so that's less in your bag, so that you're pulling more stuff out.
There's a track you can go up that lets you hold over more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like a coal without having to coal, but then there's also, you can use money to coal, which is what I like. Like, oh, I'm going to use this money to force a coal to happen. Yeah, no, it's cool. I agree with that. All right, my number 9. Been in my top 10 since I played it. It's in the Player's Choice top 10. I actually thought it was a lot higher than this, but apparently not. It was number 5 for me last year, number 7 the year before, and before that, it wasn't in my top 10, but when I first had started my top 10, it was down in the 40s, and the expansions made it go up straight into my top 10. It's Everdell. Talk about animals. Everdell, the beauty in this game, now granted, this is, I guess, what they call it, anamorphic animals. The beauty of the art, and people always talk about that. You hear games that are compared all the time to that art, or when that artist does other games, they're always like, oh, it's so-and-so's artwork. I love Everdell. Tableau building, worker placement, the expansions. It's funny because the expansion that I did not want to play the most, which is the winter one. I was trying to think of the name of it. But that was the one I didn't think I would like the most, and that is by far the expansion that I just won't. It's something Spire.
Spirecrest?
Nah. Is it Spirecrest? I think you're right. For some reason, my brain keeps wanting to say Cloud Spire, but that's a different game. I think you're right. I think it's Spirecrest. I think you're, yeah.
That's the one in the front, right, with the animal?
Yeah, it's the rabbit, the adventure. It gives you... Okay. See, I thought I would like the one that gives you the player powers, which is the Belfair. But in truth, the winter one gives you the player powers also. It's the evolving player power because you're getting something unique every time you go to a new season. Yeah, I love Everdell. There's not much I can say about that I haven't said about it already. And what most people have already experienced with it. I mean, worker placement, tableau building, the way you can get certain triggers because of it. We even tried the new one. It was a miserable game because we tried to do a 6-player. Never again. Too much downtime with 6 players, but it was cool. I love that game. I think it's going to... I mean, I said it dropped down to 9, but it was like 5, 7, 7, 5, 9. I love this game. It's going to stay there, I think.
You know, the base, when it first came out, the base game with the tree, it was a beautiful game. And as expansion started to come out, you couldn't play with the tree anymore. So that was kind of a downfall for me because I really liked the tree aspect of it. It was kind of neat.
Just put it off to the side.
Yeah, but now you had something behind the board. The whole idea was a root system connected to the tree.
I get it.
And that was, but you could tell that they were coming out with more expansion just based off the way the board was shaped and some of the, you know.
Well, of course, now it's catching heck because they're not making more expansions and they're going the other route, which I actually like the other route.
Well, it's already a table hog. What more do you want to add to it?
Yeah, that's exactly my problem. It's like, man, the game's fine.
You gotta have space. Now you have space for what? How many? For 4 more boards or 3 more boards? You gotta have space for 15 cards.
Well, technically, if you go by the rules, you're not supposed to play with everything.
Oh, which one is he supposed to leave out?
You're supposed to choose.
Choose one of them?
Yeah. We play with everything.
No.
Yeah. Like
the Pearl Brook was not really that.
Yeah, that's the one most people don't like, yeah.
But they do something pretty neat. I mean, it does do like a little neat deal with the pearls, but...
Gives you the extra frog ambassador.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do like how you can use other people's, I guess, their town of cards that they build. You can go over there and get resources or...
I think that's what people don't like. They don't like to take that from the pirate.
Oh, really?
Stuff like that, yeah.
So, yeah, from base game to now, it went down for me just because some of these expansions just take away from the beauty of the game to me because you had that tree... You had enough room to put 15 cards, and you just had this nice little town. Now you have this board, and then everybody's trying to figure out, do I stack my cards? Do I put them 15 all out? And you just kind of run out of space. And they changed the name of some of the cards. That kind of just wasn't very interesting to me as far as that. So other than that, great game. Everdell was always one of my top favorite games until they started adding all this other stuff, and now you're like, we're kind of out of space. One of the biggest table halls I know of.
It is funny because you brought up something I do love about since it was with those new people because it happened that day is when you tell somebody you got a limited space of 15, they're like, oh, 15, yeah. I got space for days until they hit like, oh my God, I'm gonna build all this. No, you're not. You're right.
And that was another issue was they added more cards. So now you run into these, the way you used to play the game and the way you used to plan it out. Now you don't run into those. Yeah,
they're trying to make you just direct one direction. I get that. And I think also, like I said, that's another reason you're not supposed to play with everything. It's supposed to limit you.
Because you used to get the building and the character that went with the building, and it would give you that special ability. Then you get another character with that building, and it just doesn't work and flow that way anymore. So.
And I've played this game over 60 times, and there's some combos without even the expansion. There's some combos with the base game I haven't even hit yet. But
yeah, one of mine is the favorite is the Scruple Stadium and that one.
You do like doing that one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey Billy, I got good news. I got great news. Good news is there's no more animal games in my top 10. The great news is Bantam West is my number 8. Frontier sandbox game uses characters' strengths and weaknesses to develop a plan. It's very Red Dead Redemption type feel to it. It has a rock, paper, scissors mechanic that I really enjoy. If you don't like the basic block, run away, dodge type mentality, you can gather resources, go spend them at the store, and then build up your money and buy extra guns and weapons or items to help you with that rock, paper, scissors mechanic. It does have a line of sight type combat system, which I enjoy. Some games have it. Memoir 44 kind of has like a line of sight type mentality to it, but once you start getting power-ups and better cards and better abilities, you can use that line of sight to ambush somebody with a gun or rifle that you have. You do a dice check with your abilities, and there's a lot of dice rolling in this game, but I'm not a big dice rolling fan, but if it has some sort of mitigation or some sort of way to re-roll dice, then I'm actually I'll just roll dice all day if you can do that. You have various ways to earn victory points in this game. You can hunt down, beasts, or go and get resources. One of my favorite ways to do it is a banknote. You go get resources, go trade them in for money, then go bring your money to the bank, let it gain interest, and you gain victory points by how many coins you have in the bank for those victory points. Another way to gain or earn victory points or gain or earn resources or high level cards in the game is you get these riders that follow you around the game. They're kind of like your followers, your gang type mentality. And if you roll bad and you die, then you can like let him take the hit for you and die for you. And then you carry him around in the game, and then you go to the graveyard and bury him and get a keepsake that helps you in the game. It may give you victory points, it might give you money, it might give you a really good weapon. So there is a graveyard site that you can go bury stuff. If you find somebody in the game that's dead or not surviving or whatever decision you make on the events give you kind of like a decision-making process. You experience something and there's choices you make and you go look it up in the book and it gives you whatever decision you make based off your abilities or however you do dice rolls or dice checks for it. You can get somebody who might be dying and you go bury them in the graveyard and get a keepsake for it. So That's at Bantam West. It's a new game, but man, they finally come out with a Red Dead Redemption type mentality game where you run around doing pretty much bad things, but you know, you can do some good things in the game.
I've now played the game 9 times, and
9?
You
played the solo?
Yep.
Wow.
I agree the game has a lot of opportunity. This is definitely one that will not be in my top 100. And that's cool. I'm glad you like it. Like I told you, I am happy you found a game you like.
It's only number 8.
I get it. It won't even be whew. I'm not going to trash the game. I'm glad you like it. There's a lot of things I have issue with in the game. I can go on for days. But there are some cool things, as he says that. Like, I do like that you can build your deck to do different things in the combat. I do like how you can go out, you can learn hunter skills, you could do this, you could do that. It's more like rock, paper, scissors, Spock, whatever it is from Big Bang Theory. It's got multiple ways. No, I love that. So let's talk about the stuff I do like, because there's a lot there.
You don't like the rock, paper, scissors mechanic to begin with, right?
Well, I don't mind it, but it's not so much that. I feel like it's not so much even outthinking someone. It's drawing the right thing at the right time. So it don't matter like with rock, paper, scissors, if I can choose to do rock whenever I think you're going to do paper, then cool. But no, it's got a lot of good things to offer. I feel like this is not the game that I had backed originally, and that through playtesting they had to pull back a lot of stuff because it feels like it's missing pieces is my problem. Like I said, it could just be like we said earlier, personal choice, man, personal choice. It may be issues for me, but for other people, those issues I may have are what they enjoy. So that's the point of having your own selection in games, that you're going to enjoy games that other people, that's just going to be the nature of the beast. My number 8, man, the second I played it, in my top 10. Loved it. And the person I played with it loved it too. And she wanted to play it immediately again. And I want to say we even played it wrong, and even playing it right immediately, we loved it again. Maracaibo. It hit right in my top 10 immediately.
I don't hate that game.
I know what you hate about it. Okay, you don't hate the game, but I know what you hate about it. And I actually do have a problem with it too. I think the expansion may fix it. I have not really jacked with the expansion too much. I do like that the expansion gives you player powers. I like the way it uniques up the game a lot. I will say, if you play this game the way the game designer mentioned, where you're only supposed to get, like, I think 3 to 4 turns per round, it's going to be a short game, which would really make me miserable. Because I do love building my tableau. I love doing everything with this game. To me, this was what I was wanting from Merchants and Marauders. Now, it doesn't tell a story quite as much. I mean, actually, it does. It does the story deck, and that's one of the things I love so much about the game. I love the idea that I could be going through the story, which is just going to change things on the map. And even if I'm playing the game and playing through the story, it's going to, like, even if you wanted to, you didn't play through the story with me, but you're in that section of the story because we're playing that section in the game, you're still not going to lose the game just because you decide to do some of the story stuff. It's going to give you points. It's just extra stuff you can do. And the fact that you could both be going through the story because this is what's going on in the world, that is so unique and cool. Now, it is weird that the expansion story, you can't be going through the expansion story while you're going through the other one. And it makes sense because you're in the middle of another story. But no, I love this game. The options. This was, when I played this shot Great Western Trail for me. I mean, Great Western Trail is still in my top 100, especially with the new iterations of it. But this shot, just killed Great Western Trail for me because it moved it down because it done, not the deck building, but it done the movement. It made me want to play Boone Lake of his, which in my top 100, yeah. I don't know what, there's a lot of things I can say about it. And I'll agree with you. I already know what he's going to say he doesn't like about it. And it's the scoring. It's the scoring of the factions where all of a sudden at the end of the game, here's 40, 50 points, 80 points, like out of nowhere. Like, what?
Were we playing? That's the thing with the France and the England.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Were we playing that wrong?
No, that's the way it's meant to. But if you're a min-maxer, you're watching when someone's moving down that track, you just move down it, because if you're moving, like if you're going all in France, all I got to do is move down it a little bit, and I'm negating a lot of your score. And if you're not doing that, someone can just go away with the game. But I think the new expansion also makes it to where you can go the other way, where you can start adding cubes back, because you're the resistance against the cultures, or against the nations, I guess. And I have not really dabbled with that too much, because you know me, if you played a lot of games with me, I go into my bread and butter. So I go into what I know works.
Like reading rule books.
I do hate reading rule books.
And he plays the story, and then you come back and play it with him again. He's like, "Oh yeah, there was a plague there.
There was a plague. It wiped all that out.
No more that ability's gone." You're like, "Wait a minute, that was one of the main places that we would like to use." And then that bottom track, that's
expedition. You can go.
The expedition thing. Yeah,
I never do that.
That's kind of a blow. Like some people dabble in it, but. If you can't you got to go all out on that thing to get the.
That's what I do like about the game. You can dabble in everything, but you got to focus on something. So typically, I don't mess with the expedition track. Like I said, bread and butter. I don't know how to go down that very well, so I'm like, I'll let everyone else do that. I'll go do this.
The France, England thing. God.
You gotta get the right guy.
But you notice he won't put the expansion in to help with that or whatever it does.
No, I do. We just haven't played it since then. I've played it like 3 or 4 times since then.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Other than that, great game with, you just keep going through the same map, just doing the same stuff to win the game. So,
God.
Yeah, great game. It's just like I said, you think you'd be doing good, and then, I'm the highest on the France. Oh, it's 100 to 20 in points, and you're like, what? So, anyways, great game.
Go ahead.
Hey. You like hitting the planet up? My number 7 is Terraforming Mars. Great game. Basically in the title. Terraforming Mars, that's basically what you're doing.
It's about making money as a corporation.
Yeah, but you're basically terraforming Mars. You're terraforming the planet. So you can do all these projects. You draft these projects into your hand. There's a lot going on in this game. A lot. I mean, from the base game that we talked about all the way down to now they have government, they have other trade routes you can do.
That's what you want to do, put government on Mars.
I like the projects that like to have those things. So I like to terraform the Mars. Heat the planet up, throw some oxygen in there, throw some lakes in there, and you get the victory points for it. You start getting victory points on the board. The in-game scoring is crazy. If you're perfectly set up on the board, you can score a lot of points. You just got to play with everything in this game. You cannot. You got to learn everything. There's just no way you play this game by itself. Do what the title says. Terraform Mars.
I disagree.
Heat the planet up. Throw things on there and get the victory points you get for putting stuff on the planet. And the drafting can be quite weird sometimes, depending on what person is going for what thing. You might not let them have that card. So.
Well, first off, don't draft. This game is terrible as a draft. Base game, yes, you have to draft if you want to play base game.
You have the beginning speed the game up, right? You have the beginning preludes where you get the powers. You don't have to sit there and figure out how to get that. Hey, you get this. Hey, you get some money, or you can get the ability to heat the planet initially, or throw some oceans down. You get some victory points right at the beginning of the game. Or, you just get a card that helps you with putting more projects out that don't require that. So. Anyways, Terraforming Mars.
No, this is my top 20. We talked about it last time. Here's my favorite of the tag systems. As much as I gripe about it, I would actually argue a lot of the things you have problems with in it is because you're drafting. So drafting just turns into hate draft. And if I know you're going for certain tags, I'm just not going to let you have those tags. Especially someone like me who builds a tableau, because if I can find a way to draw cards, then I'm just going to hate draft everything from you, because I'm going to be able to draw everything I need. I don't need the stuff I need. No, I like the game a lot. There's nothing really bad I can say about it other than, yes, I agree with you. You have to play with everything. I feel like the expansions fix a lot of it, even though Prelude is the worst expansion there. But it's also the expansion you have to play with because you start with more stuff. But I feel like I like being able to engine build, and Preludes basically takes out the slow engine building that I like to do. And yes, it gives you that stuff already, but now you're forcing me down an option. Now, granted, you get to choose the option. As I say, force down an option, but you get to choose the option.
Right? You get two.
Yeah, you get two. But I've also seen exactly what I feared. I can go. Yeah, I already said everything I'm going to say about it on when we talked about it there. Like I like the game a lot.
I've seen people struggle in the game though if you don't get the card tag tableau system.
Well, see, I feel like that's what the Colonies fixes. Colonies makes it where you don't have to worry about the tags as much. That's what I like about the expansions. The expansions do make it to where you can. It is less dependent on the randomness, and that's what they had to fix because I feel like the base game had so much randomness, like we were talking about with Ark Nova. That's the reason I'm hoping the Ark Nova stuff fixes it because it happened with Terraforming Mars. Base game too dang random, and it was as much as I loved it. It was too random, and that was the thing. I did agree. You needed the draft, but then now I feel like they got so much in there.
There's too many cards.
Yeah, and the drafting it adds extra time for no reason. Yeah. Like, oh, I was able to maximize my engine. No, you weren't. You drafted and added 30 minutes so you could get one extra card. Most time you're going to draft the first card you draft is going to be the one you get. Maybe the second one if someone didn't hate draft you, but then after that, most time the next card you get you're not going to buy anyways. Let's talk about my number 7. Ugh. Man, this game, I hated it the first time I played it. Threw it on my floor, never touched it, and then played it one night, late night, with another friend, and I was like, man, why did I play this for so long? My brother-in-law made me hate this game. Orleans. Man, I like this game so much that for some reason, when I first started doing my top 100, this was my number 1 game. And I was like, over this? How did that happen? But it was number 1, then 5, 4, now it's 7. So, yeah, I love Orleans. The bag building, it was the bag building game, man. Like, when we played it, I loved the bag building in it. This is another one I suffer from. Right now, I'm in a big win streak. I want to say 24 games in a row of winning. But I know that loss is coming. I talk so much smack to y'all because I know that loss is coming. Yeah, I know I'm going to get pow-powed. Because I just keep sticking to my bread and butter. And there's so many expansions. And we play with all the promos from which we really shouldn't because it's the DLP promos. They're not for the Tasty Minstrel promo or game. But we play with them anyways. We always got to look them up because they're foreign. Like, what is this? I don't know. But I love this game. But I also can say I have not explored everything in it because I just go to my bread and butter, do this.
It's one of the first bag builder games you introduced me to. I don't know if I played that before the which one with the spells or after, but it's one of the first.
Oh, Quacks.
Yeah, Quacks with Rodenberg. Anyways, the bag builder. I mean,
I think it was the first bag builder. I'm almost positive it was the first bag builder.
Being from Louisiana, I was like, oh, Orleans. Oh,
no. Orleans.
Yeah.
Orleans. I can't even say it right either. Yeah.
Yeah, no. You know, sometimes it seems like the game we played every time, it seems like, man, you just go the same direction you go every time.
I do. I do.
I feel like there's nothing new to it, so that's why.
I need to explore. I've been trying to dabble out of my bread and butter, but what happens is, because I'm on that win streak, what happens is I start trying to dabble, and then y'all start doing something where y'all start getting a lot of points. I'm like, oh, nope, right back to it. Let's go. Yeah.
Great game, man. Arg, matey.
Oh, I know what yours is. Yeah, I called this one too. Man, I should have made a list. I was like, I think I know almost every game it's going to be in it.
Number 6 is Dead Reckoning.
If I had a pen, I'd start writing them down.
Card crafting meets 4X. My favorite card crafting game. You introduced me to one of them. It was kind of Monopoly type. What's the one? The card crafting game. The first one you introduced me to by the same company.
Mystic Veil. I always forget the name of it. Yeah, I'm surprised I remembered it right now.
Major Mystic Veil killer for me. Card crafting meets 4X. You're pirates, right? It's basically a 4X game. You battle through. The neat thing about it is the way you do battles. You have this cube tower and you drop your cubes down it, and the cubes land on certain spots and slices and areas where either you get an attack or you get some sort of upgrade or you get like an extra resource. So even though you lose, you really don't feel like you lost that much on the battle part of it. You can level up your cards in the card crafting system. I don't really know how to explain it. You move around, you get a card, and you put it in the in a slot of a card already, and it levels up your card. What's cool about the game is you have hidden victory points. So you have your own little pirate chest, and at the start of the game, everybody knows how many victory points you have, but you keep your victory points hidden, your coins or your victory points. It does have area control, area majority type mentality to it. If you're not doing area control, you're kind of losing the game. There's not much pickup and delivery. You can do that, but you're pirates. You're trying to control the land and get as much resources out of it. Also, what's cool about the game is they have these sagas, which kind of create a story in the game. You kind of uncover all these secrets of the game as you're exploring the oceans and as you're exploring the tiles. And then you got some in-game bonuses there, or not in-game bonuses, but once you meet a certain bonus, you get those victory points for pulling off that objective or whatever. And then you got like pirate mode, right? Like you put your little flag up, which they did fix in the upgrades. They gave you
the poker chip. I already saw it. Yeah.
Flag. So one of my favorite games, Dead Reckoning, is Pirates. If you like pirate games, it's the best one out there, I think. There's several of them. There's all kinds of pirate games. Maracaibo is a pirate game, right?
Yeah, well, you can, yeah. Well, and technically,
we played a pirate racing game the other day, and then what's the pickup and delivery one? Merchants and Marauders.
Merchants and Marauders.
Yeah, so if you like pirate game, to me, this is
I love pirate games.
Yeah. So anyways, that's you. Back to me.
I mean, we talked about Dead Reckoning already, for sure. Yeah, it was... And you know, I was ambivalent at first because I couldn't figure out why. I would disagree with you on the 4X. I do not feel like it hits the 4X yet. I haven't tried the expansion yet. I did get it in. I was going to mix it in, but I do love the Saga stuff. And once you showed me that it was just area control is the only way to go, and that's my only issue with it right now. I'm hoping the expansion fixed that. But once I realized it was just all about the area control and everything else was just secondary, then yes, this game, because yeah, it was right on track to not be in my top 100. I was so like, God, I was looking for the 4X and trying to do all this stuff and do this and do that. It just wasn't gelling. But then once I realized you have to focus on the area control, everything else is secondary. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Just because I felt like if you did not focus on the area control early game, because you were trying to build other engines, then everyone else already cemented their way in. Yeah, you can go destroy their buildings, attack their islands, but at that point, you're following them then. It's like a race, and at that point, you started off, oh, I'll let you have a lead and I'll catch up. Nah, you're behind now. But no, I do like the game a lot. It was a Mystic Veil killer for me too, only in the regards for... Company, right? Yeah, it's the same company. That's their card crafting thing. Only because of I felt like it was less dependent on how you built your... With Mystic Veil, you had to be lucky enough to get the stuff you wanted to get for your deck to make it work, and then it has the pressure luck where you can go with it. Dead Reckoning doesn't really matter, it seems like to me. Yes, I'm not going to say the cards you get are useless, but because of the way you can level up your cards, it made it to where you didn't have to depend so much on getting the achievement, or getting the advancements, or whatever they called them, the cards. To me, you just got the cards and supplemented your deck with them, and being able to build it to anything. But I also now just played the second card crafting game that they had made, the Edge of Darkness, and that one I like a lot. Yeah, I like Edge of Darkness a lot. But no, yeah, Pirates, Dead Reckoning, nothing bad I can say about it. Other than that, I agree with you. I like the ship, and I get it. I think a lot of it is if we weren't playing at a shop, like you probably play it mostly at your house. So really, if you wanted to, you don't have to have the ship inside of there. You could have the ship sitting up on a shelf, and then you have more space in your box to. That would make sense, But someone like me where it's like we're at the shop, which I guess I could just have it set up at the shop, but then if I want to take it home or I'm going to take it over to my friend's house to play. Oh, I didn't bring the ship with us.
Yeah.
But no, Dead Reckoning, great game. I agree. My number 6, you have not played. So as far as I know.
This will be quick then.
Yeah. This is probably my second most played game. Actually, no, I bet this is my most played game. I probably played this game over 1,000 times. I could look in the app, but the app messed up and lost a lot of my plays because I used to call them something else. course, the way I play it's not the real way. Either way, this has been in my top 10 forever. It was number 6 when I started doing this, number 4, number 8. Now it's number 6 again. Legendary. And as I say legendary, I play mixed with everything. Legendary encounters with legendary, everything. I found ways to mix it all in every time. And then, man, the new one, the Legendary Matrix, I think is going to just nail it even more home. I love what Legendary Matrix did to change up the system. And I get it. You're not supposed to really mix everything in with it, but this is one of my favorite deck building games of all time. I love Legendary. I've sat and played it.
You can play it solo?
Yeah. And solo's harder. Much harder solo. Actually, I think it's only because of the way the solo works that makes it harder, because you could literally just trigger into it an instant win. Or instant loss. But I will admit, Encounters fixes the Legendary problem. That's the one thing I want to say about it. And I know you're not going to have too much to say about it, but because you hadn't tried it.
I haven't seen it. Haven't even seen a playthrough of it.
Yeah, so you could tell it was almost rushed out, it feels, because Legendary Marvel can have very swingy where it's fun to play, but you could literally just lose the game, or you could just be too easy. Like, oh, there's no way we're losing this game. Unless we just jack around. And then Encounters kind of fixes that problem because it feels like it's got this nice steady pace to where you're working towards the end game to try to pull it off and win, but it's also more co-op. And that's another thing. It's a semi-co-op game that I will never play semi-co-op. We just play, when I played this game, I play it with other people, I play it co-op. And whoever has the most points, you just have bragging rights. Yeah, I was the hero, you were the sidekick. Because semi-co-op, it's one of those games where someone can just tank the game. Oh, you're winning by a lot? Then I'm just going to sit and I'm not going to help beat the bad guy. I'm going to let the bad guy win. Why, dude? Because I can't win. Cool, man. And this is why I say, when you say that you don't know people who do that, I've met people who do that. And because of that, that's the reason I'm not going to drag on to it too much, because I could talk for days about this, because I played this game so much.
We have those. We all have those.
Yeah, I played it so much. There's days where I even had a drinking game where every time I would take a wound, I would have a little bit of an adult beverage. And every time, there's been games where it's like, well, I'm done for the night. Nah, this is games. Only thing I hate about the game, the setup and breakdown. Like, God. But, yeah.
Is that it over there?
No, I got it in 3 5K boxes now at the house. Like, it's 15,000 cards sleeved up. Like
15,000?
Yeah, it's a lot.
That would just deter me from getting that game.
Oh no, there are people now. There's stuff that's out of print, and people are like looking for it, like rabidly looking for it.
15,000 cards
in 3 5K boxes. That's where you store it in. And I mixed in everything. I mixed in Buffy. Big Trouble in Little China.
In the game? Do you even come across any of that?
Well, because I play with the Buffy track, the night and dark thing, because it helps you. And there's so many house rules. If you mix everything, you gotta make house rules. There's so many online where they talk about things, and there's certain things I use that I found online. There's things I just do because I play the game for the fun of it, and since I play it just for myself, that's why I play it mostly solo. I can mix in everything, and yeah, there's sometimes I get Ripley is over here and her cards are useless. Cool, I guess we'll just sit here and be useless this game. You just don't buy those cards. You sometimes just have that useless person over there like, yeah, you just sit over there in the corner. I'm going to go over here and we're going to be over here beating the bad guy. but yep, Legendary, number 6.
Hey, Billy, is the Force with you? It wasn't with you
Really?
last time we played.
Oh, I didn't call this one. I was able to write down everything. I did not call this. I should have.
It wasn't with you last time we played.
No, it wasn't. I abandoned it.
Number 5, Star Wars Rebellion. Basically Star Wars in a box. What, New Hope, right? Until they started coming out with an expansion.
Yeah.
A lot of miniatures in this game.
My daddy.
Yeah. Area majority, area influence, conflict resolution, hand management, variable player powers, variable setup. it's got a cool mechanic where it has delayed purchases in your items that you get based off the resources you get from the planets. Sometimes you get them one round, but then sometimes you gotta wait for 3 rounds for some bigger items or the bigger ones. You fulfill contracts to earn points, and you're basically trying to sway the Republic towards you either way before you find the rebel base. Unfortunately,
unless you abandon it and just let them move right in.
Unless you just don't protect the base and put it right in the middle of everything.
Dude, there was no way you were going there. I knew I shouldn't have recruited Han. Han Solo sucks.
The one thing that is in the game is as you know, the rebellion, you don't have as many units as the Empire, so you got to conjure up ways to shut down some sort of mechanic that the Empire is using, and then you got to go a different route as the Empire. You got to pull off these project cards, and if you don't have these certain planets or these certain locations, these project cards are useless. So that's where it gets personal, right? So it can just shut down a mechanic and be annoying when you're playing the Empire. The rebellion can be.
Well, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, slow them down.
The annoying part of the game is the rebellion shutting down some mechanic you were about to plan on playing. But a lot of miniatures, really fun game.
Well, standees. I wish they had miniatures, but
yeah, it takes time. The game takes time. It takes time to set up. You can either do the base game or do it randomly, and you got to pull off the projects. And if you can't pull the projects off because of the rebellion, it can get real frustrating.
Yeah. No, I love this game. I'm not going to talk too much about it because we might be seeing it later. No, this is a great game.
Some similarities.
Yeah, finally, right? No, this is a great game. One of the big things I talk about this game is I always feel like there's always a story to tell. Like, there's not a single time I have played this game that there wasn't a story to tell to it. Even in the most boring one, the last one we played, where I abandoned the base because I didn't think there'd be any reason for you to go there.
Right, it's like my first win, but really, did you lose that game? Did I win?
I just needed to make it one more turn. I was about to move everything back in. I was like, there's no way. But then I should have recruited. I should have went with my favorite character, Lando. Why did I go with Han Solo? It was a bad choice. And it just made it.
Did you lose the game or did I actually win it?
Hey, you won. You won, man. you did it. So
but it was like the third round. That game usually.
It was pretty fast. It was pretty fast. But I also took Coruscant turn 1. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Like I said, there's always a great story to tell in there. When they say they're Star Wars fans, I'm like, this is Star Wars in a box. If you want Star Wars in a box, this is it. Republic era, so forth. And
it usually comes down to like the last turn.
It really does. If the rebellion's able to throw the red herrings out properly, and yeah, it's a great game. Like I said, I know we're going to talk about it later, so there's no reason.
Cool.
No reason. All right. My number 5 was number 16 on the first time I played it. And I guess I just didn't really, I enjoyed it. I knew top 100, but then the more I played it, really solo and then started playing it more with other people, I love this game. And the company, as of Saturday, I think 10 of their games are going to be in my top 100 this year. Garfield Games knocks it out of the park, and this is my favorite of them. Paladins of the West Kingdom. It was number 3 last year, but I think that was actually a fluke. I think, like I said, I think Pub Meeple is kind of evening things out for me a little bit more, and there were some games I forgot about. So Pub Meeple lets me keep a database to where I can do that. But yeah, Paladins of the West Kingdom, man, it's my favorite of the Garfield games, but it's the same thing that triggers me with Orleans, where this worker lets me do this, and because I can do this, that lets me focus on doing this one ability, and I can chain it off and do some other things. I could build the wall for defenses because you're building the city, or I can God, my brain just doesn't want to work right now. I can go attack people and I don't know what they're even called. I just know you attack them, or you can recruit them, or you can build you can go build the cathedral type thing. Like, just everything you can do in there. I enjoy this game a lot. And I know I didn't use the right terminologies because as much as I like this game, you think I would know all of them. But we're doing this pretty early in the morning, so my brain's not 100% right now. But no, this is my favorite of the Garfield games. We'll see if it stays up there as my favorite. Because they just keep knocking it out of the park, man. They are getting a little bit more complicated in their games, and this used to be the most complicated.
I haven't played any other ones, so for me, Paladins is the most complicated one. I haven't played any of the new ones.
I thought you played Wayfarers.
I think Paladins is still harder than Wayfarers.
Really?
Yeah. Now, the new one,
I think the initial play of Wayfarers is more complicated. Yeah.
Paladins was like, oh, you can't dwell and everything. You have to go.
No. You got to focus on something. Well, that's no, yeah.
You told me that like. And you were like, yo, you're going one direction, but then you switched.
Yeah, you did. You switched and started driving on everything. No, Paladins, I will agree, if you don't know what you're doing in that, yeah, you can lose it real fast. I feel like Wayfarers gets a little bit more complicated just the first play. But once you know what to do, then you're just doing things. And that's the cool thing. There's no lockdown. Whereas in Paladins, you get locked down. If you do go a different direction or do something else, you're done. You're done. Just walk away. And then the new one, I just played Scholars. Yeah, that one's pretty rough. It's not really hard. I could talk about we'll talk about that on another day because I'm sure it's going to end up on top 100. But no, I love Paladins. Just the way Garfield games takes the mechanics of a game and turns it on its head and shifts. But yeah, no, I love Paladins of the West Kingdom. I don't know if it'll stay in my top 10 just because there's so many good games. I played so many good games this year that we'll see if we're going to have a shift up in the top 10. A lot of my top 10's been the top 10.
You played it 9 times, if I remember.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Actually, no, I played Paladins a lot. I like Paladins. I don't know what else I can say about it, but I think it's the same triggers of the idea that this worker, and I chose this Paladin, so I have this ability for this turn, so that means for this turn, I'm able to do this unique. And you got the same Paladins in your deck, but you may not be doing the same Paladin in my turn, so that means you're doing something different. Yeah, I love all that. It's a great game.
Good. Yeah, I like Paladins too. Hey, do you like aliens?
Hey, I called it.
but not have the alien like copyright, right?
Right.
You like Alien, right? Or Alien, right?
I like Aliens. I don't like Alien.
You like the first one?
No.
He likes Aliens.
I'm not a big fan of the first one.
My number 4 is Nemesis. Basically Alien, but without the copyright or without the rights to the game. Sci-fi survival game, can be semi-co-op, co-op-y, individual, depending on what objective you pick.
Yes.
You got hidden roles, you got storyline thematic, modular board. Each game is different every time you play because of the way the board is randomly set up. Some of your best plans can be ruined by a player or the game, right? Like aliens show up, you're planning on going up to the cockpit and change the coordinates to Earth like you're supposed to, or going to fix the engines like you're supposed to keep the ship running.
Oh yeah, it's a very thematic game for sure.
And aliens come out and ruin your whole plan, or they're not called aliens, they're called
xenomorphs.
Yeah, encounters or something like that. Anyways, you can't use that term because they just don't have the rights. Your characters are asymmetric with their own abilities around a ship. I will give you that. You will just keep seeing the same cards over and over again. You just may not use that card on that turn, or you got to use another ability. But you never get to get new cards. You might get to new weapons or new items, but as far as your main deck, it's not really a deck builder per se. You just kind of have the same half of the mechanic of the deck builder by drawing up cards, discarding, then reshuffle, draw cards, but you never get to add new cards to it. But yeah, move around the ship. Picture the movie Alien, and that's what this game is. Move around the ship. You get face suckers that can. You got to find the surgery room to get them removed. I mean, and they have not expansions, but they have expansions. But now they're coming out with standalone variants that you played the other day that you said was really fun, and they're going to come out with another one.
It's actually rated very low, so I don't know if you're going to like it.
Okay. The bad thing is you better know it's one of those games. You better know your players that you're playing with. And understand what role or objective they may pick, and it's a hidden role or objective. Some people might be team blue, while other people might be team by themselves. And the objectives in the game is co-op objective, or you pick the corporate objective that the corporate wants you to do something that might hinder always hinders the co-op objective. Or
Yeah.
so, but at the end of the game, the survival part, or the way the game ends, or the way the goal ends for the game is the same. You got to survive. The ship has to be heading to Earth. You can't have any diseases as you come off and get back to Earth. You can't be infected. So if you're not all those, then you win the game. But it's just, if you're doing co-op and somebody's infected, then you lose the game. That's why the corporate objective might be better. But anyways, it's one of my favorite games. It's been one of my favorite games in a long time. A lot of people that I've played this game with outside of this shop enjoy it. Because it has.
It's in my top 100.
It has that element of surprise, and it can be pretty brutal if you're not making the right decisions on the game. So.
Nah, this game's in my top 100. I don't think it will be anymore. We'll see if Lockdown brings it back in, because I did play Lockdown the other day, or moves it up, I should say. Because I did play Lockdown. It did fix some things that I don't like in the game. If I had anything to really say I don't like in Nemesis, is not only do I have to deal with whether I'm pulling off my objective and whether somebody else is trying to be anti my objective, but I have to also deal with the game itself. So if I'm dealing with the game, I don't have time to deal with my objective also. And now, thematic wise, I think it's great. Except I don't like the length of time. And it's not that so much it's a long game, because I like long games. I know we always talk about this all the time. I like long games. To me, this game's too long for how much downtime it is. And I will admit, when I first got this game, I thought it was a deck builder. And yeah, that's the reason I noticed you brought up the deck things. You know, that's one of my biggest issues. Is it feels like once I played through a character's deck, I really don't want to play that character again. Only because I feel like I've already played that character. I don't really feel like the objective changes my character's play that much. I'm going to play the deck the same way every single time.
Lockdown was the same way.
Yeah, and actually, to the degree of, it felt to me like the characters were even less, the deck was even less dependent. Yeah, I don't know if that was just my... Now, of course, that was also me. I told you I wanted to not play with people this year on it, to see if maybe it was a game that I would just enjoy more solo than I would with other players. I do like the game. Very thematic. If you are a fan of that genre and that series, oh yeah, get this game by far. Great game. And like I said, I enjoy it. I bought Lockdown. I'm even probably going to buy the newest one when it goes on to Kickstarter. Yeah, I think something like that. I actually think the promos add a lot to the game. The little promo packs, like where you can do extra things in the game. I think the promos add some things to the game. And I underline group dependent here. That is my thing in it. I think it is very, very group dependent.
Yeah, it's not something you just play with somebody you don't know.
Well, not only that, like if you know someone's not going to like this style of game, this is a miserable game to play a game with someone like that. Because if they're playing that game, they're stuck there for 3 to 4 hours now. Playing a game, they're going to be miserable for 3 to 4 hours. So you got to know your group. And if your group isn't going to like this game, and you're one of those people like me that doesn't want someone to be miserable while you're playing a game that you're enjoying, that's going to bring down the game. And it's going to bring it down. And I feel like this is one of those games, if somebody doesn't like it, they're stuck there now. And they're going to be just... Oh, come on, buddy, we can go do this. And they're like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And that's going to ruin the game for people.
If you want to know what it's like to be in the movie Alien, and it's a board game.
It does. My number 4, man, talk about a game I did not expect to hit into my top 10. First time I played it, and first time I done this, it was number 90 for me. Like,
okay.
It was number 90. It moved up to 69, then to 65, and then boom, number 4, kicked down the door into my top 10. Arkham Horror, the card game. Wow. I think it's because until another one of our players forced me to play this outside of the base game. I think the base game was just so bleh to me that I enjoyed it, but it wasn't Arkham Horror for me. Now, talk about an Arkham Horror / Eldritch Horror killer for me. This is it. I can get this done now. I can get the story that I want from Arkham Horror. The way I can deck build my character, and I could do it all in an hour. Yeah, we have some games that are like 3 hours because of what we have to do to pull off, you know. But oh man, I love this game. We play it every Monday now, and it's like one of my. I'm looking forward to it. Like, which character do I build this time, and what am I going to do, and am I going to change this? Now, I am starting to see some replay issues with it now, only because, of course, it plays out different, but I realize now if I play a certain type of character, like a Seeker or one of the 5 classes, I'm just playing with the same cards over and over again because I like them, you know. Now, there are some cards that aren't as good for those characters, and those don't get in my deck. But no, I love this game. I know you haven't played it yet. I know you tried the Eldritch Horror, and you were pretty miserable in that.
Well, it was okay. There just was no dice. Like I said, I like dice rolling, but there was no dice, like...
Mitigation. That, and you were looking at the turns different because you're used to a game where the turns are... you do your turn. This Eldritch Horror is more of you take your turns to build up for your turn. Your turn's going to be the actual encounter you're having. And that's why I think this does great. Like, the way it builds out the map, and every game you play is different. Oh, this connects to this. Now, granted, it ends up just being moved from space to space, but because of the scenario and what you're reading and the weaknesses you may gain, and when you draw those weaknesses, nothing's more than you're chugging along. You're already having a problem trying to fight these monsters. You can't really fight them, and it's like, okay, I finally got this ready. I'm gonna be able to fight this monster, and you draw your weakness. Well, I guess I'm gonna go burn evidence right now. Why are you doing that? Yeah. I like this game. The deck building element to it is amazing. I don't know what else I could say. Like I said, it kicked the door down right into my top 10. This was one, I didn't think it'd get in the top 10, but after we played the Dunwich, and then, even then, past Dunwich, and we played into the next story, I knew it was going to be my top 20. Play, right? Yeah, I like I said, I love playing the game. Yeah. I'm looking forward to playing this Monday. Like, we didn't get to play this last Monday because someone didn't show up, but we were like, I was ready. I had my deck ready, like, here we go. And then, of course, we're playing a really hard one right now. Oh, but yeah, I love it right now. It's, like I said, bust down the door to number 4. Lets me get my Arkham Horror fix. I love Arkham Horror. Arkham Horror was my game, and I'm talking about the 2nd edition Arkham Horror. I played that when everyone was, oh man, Catan. Well, Settlers of Catan is what it was called at the time. And I was like, yeah, I like Catan, but man, this is the game. I love this game. And yeah. And then Eldritch fixed a lot of issues I had with Arkham. And then I feel like this just fixes the same issues I had with Eldritch. Being too long, being too brutal. This lets me mitigate that. And there's no dice. It's a bag, and that bag is brutal. You think a dice is brutal. That bag is brutal. Like,
no bag mitigation?
No, because you're pulling chits out of a bag, and that's your pluses. There's only 1 + 1 in the bag. Like right now, there's 1 + 1, 2 zeros. There's one that's a +2 possibly, depending on your character. Everything else is negatives. So there's like 3 -1s, 2 -2s, 1 -3, 1 -4, 1 auto fail. Like, odds are you're pulling out of that bag, you're like, man, how do I? No, sir. This is going to be negatives. But as much as that feels negative, you learn how to mitigate it with your character. No, it's a great game. I love it. Arkham Horror card game.
I got some trivia for you. Name a famous character from the Battle of the OK Corral.
I don't know any of them.
You don't know any of them?
Doc Holliday.
Yeah. My number 3 is Stratego.
Stratego, huh?
My number 3 is Western Legends.
Called it.
Historical Western figures.
Actually, let's be your number 2. Wow.
Historical Western figures in a game. You get to pick from these guys.
Oh, I know what your number 2 is.
And get to do Western things. You got card play, conflict resolution, pickup and delivery, risk versus reward type mentality. You can gamble, rob banks, rob a train. You can develop unsettled land, choose to defeat bandits. You can mine gold. You can be wanted, or you can be a marshal in the game. The risk reward thing is the more wanted side of the track. Yeah, you do Western things. I mean,
Western in a box.
Yeah, steal cattle, bring them to other cattle ranches and sell them, or bring them to the train station and develop, being a good guy. I mean, in your hand management is poker cards. You either play poker with them, or you use them to fight with, or you use the ability on the card.
Well, that's all this game is poker. Just
yeah, sure. You battle outlaws. The events make things happen in the game. The victory point is the timer of the game. So whenever somebody reaches a certain amount of victory points, it ends the game. You can play a really short game of 10 or a really long game of all the way to 30 and blackout. It takes a long time, especially with 6 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been one of my favorite games for a long time, but the reason why it went down to 3 is because there's no solo.
Well, you don't need it. I mean, it's not that you don't need it. It's dependent upon other players. You need other players.
There's no solo, so you can't roll the dice and it makes a decision for another player, or have an app to make.
Well, you got the man in black, but that would just be boring because you can avoid him easily.
Yeah, but another one of those games. He's played it by the first edition by itself. I played it with all the expansions, not all of them, not the most recent one, but whenever I first got it, I had all the expansions, or found all the expansions to it, and found all the extra stuff. And I just won't play this game without all that stuff. Yeah. He knows what it's like without it. But for me,
I wouldn't either.
I would not play this game. I introduce this game to everybody, and I say, hey, this is all you can do. Here's the paper. Read what you can do. Go around and do it. And it takes a couple of rounds, and people generally figure it out. But Western, if you like Westerns, there's Western games out there. You got, all kinds of other Western games. What's that one where you draw out of a bag?
Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs. I mean, it's
better than Bantam West.
Yeah. But great Western Trail where you herd cattle. That's just a specific direction of the game. This one has everything you can do Western.
Yeah. No. It's in my top 100, and actually moving up because of another game. No, this is, and to the point of what you said, if you like Westerns, play this game. My brother-in-law won't play this game because he don't like Westerns. Perfect sense, because this is going to be the Western feel. If anything, you need more players because the player interaction is what matters in the game.
So the party game?
Too long for a party game. And that's actually my issue with the game, is it just... There's too much downtime because of the options it offers to the players to, if they don't have something they're doing, and especially someone like me who's a min-maxer, yeah, I can watch what everyone else is doing, but unless they're interacting with me, I don't care what they're doing because I'm just looking at how I get my points. So
don't believe that. You can pay attention to other people's turns.
Well, no, I'm saying for me as a min-maxer, because unless you're interacting with me, I don't care what you're doing over there because I'm looking at what I'm already got to do this, to do this, so that I can get my points. And the min-maxing breaking down. No, I agree. It's a great game. I just think the downtime, it's one of those games. Another one I know is in your top. Another game is going to come up that I know is in your top 10. I think it's your number 1. It's the issues I have with it are I have never played this game. And I know this is a game I talk about all the time with my other games. I mentioned it with Runebound. I mentioned it with some of the others where this is a game, if you've got nothing but time and you're just sitting around having some adult beverages, chilling, just want to hang out with your friends, and you're kind of playing the game, but you're also hanging out with each other, and this is great. This is a perfect game for that. But it's terrible for game nights because game nights, you're there to play games, and you want to hang out and be buddies with everyone, but you're also trying to knock out games. So that's what makes this game miserable. And I've never played this game once where there's not somebody sitting at a table who's miserable. And even to the point where there's been a couple times I've been miserable in this game. Just because of what's going on in the game or how long it's taking I'm not going to fault the game for that. It's just the reason why I feel like it can't hit the table as much and why I don't show it to many people, because I feel like I can put it on the table, and if I don't know that person, know if they're going to like the game and they're going to end up miserable in it, once again, you're locked into a 3 or 4 hour game. I love the way it doesn't just give you your player powers immediately. You have to unlock them first.
Yeah, you got
you got. There's a lot of things. I love Westerns, so I like this game. I fully recommend it to people, and I'm glad he's not adding more to it.
No, he's
and
done
that he's moved on to another game. I'm actually looking forward to that other game because if he can catch everything I like in this game, I'm hoping my hype ain't high on it. Yeah, it's a great game. There's nothing bad I could really say about it. The cracks I see in it are the min-maxer in me that sees the cracks. If you're into the story, this is like I said, this is my Runebound. This is my Star Trek Ascendancy. This is the Western I would choose. My Merchants and Marauders. You want that adventure, that Western adventure. This is the Western adventure game, and you're just go do what you want to do, man. Now you may not be able to do it well, but you can go do it. You want to go gamble, you want to go do whatever you want to do. Everything you said, there's nothing I can really say about it other than good game. My number 3 is one you have not played, and this is probably one that if I combined every single series of the game that I played, probably is second or third most played game. Pathfinder adventure card game. A lot of people hate this game, and I get what they hate about it. It's a random deck builder that you're also throwing a random dice roll on. So it's a random on top of a random. I get that. What I like about it is
How many deck builders is that for you?
Dude, I love deck builders. You got a deck building element. That's the reason I said if Nemesis would have been deck builder, probably been way up in there. I love Pathfinder adventure card game. I love the way the characters can feel so different and the way I can build to them different. Now, granted, I do know the bad side of the adventure card game with it on the random, but I also like random. I don't care. I feel like there's a lot of ways you can mitigate that randomness too by just making sure you get more dice as you build your deck. But the way you get to carry your deck over between adventures, that's one of the things I like so much. Man, I have this deck. It's completed. I started with 5 swords. Yeah, they were short swords, but hey, as I was playing, I found this long sword +1. Now I have to go back to 5 swords. Well, I get rid of one of my starter swords and one of my weaker swords to put this bigger one in. I like that I can carry that over and slowly build my deck to a taste that builds to that character or something I like. I love that the last one, of course, now they're done with the game, which is unfortunate. And this is another one where I have I want to say 10,000 cards. So the odds of stuff you could hit, because I mix all of them story-wise in. And we just play through a adventure, but you could hit anything from one of the other adventures, just like in a Dungeons & Dragons game. Like, I may be going through this adventure and I hit this thing that's from a pirate ship. Okay, whatever, man. You find that stuff in Dungeons & Dragons sometimes. No, I do like the game a lot. It is co-op. It does, if you play the basic starting, Rise of the Rune Lords it was called, they all play out pretty much the same. It's find villain, corner him. They started later making it to where the end game was different. Like now you have to do this, now you have to do this. And especially with the story one, the last one they tried to release, it was called just the core, and I can't remember what the Crimson something, but we're playing through that one right now, and I enjoy that one. And then there's like 100 of, each one of them added 4 to 8 characters. I want to say 8 characters each. And then they had each little side one that added another 4. So like,
a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton. Like, there's no way you could.
You like deck builders with a lot of options.
I do. And this one, if you play with everything, and then like I said, the idea that my deck carries over. Not very many games do that. Like.
Oh, isn't there a war game that the deck carries over?
Yeah, the one we played, Undaunted, which I'm sure will be in my top 100. Yeah, Stalingrad. Yeah, but no, this is a deck builder, though, that when I say it carries over, it's carrying over. Like, you may be, I don't know, 15 games in, and none of your cards are the starter cards. You got rid of all your starter cards. You're playing with all new cards now. That's cool. The idea that my deck, I don't go, okay, we're done with the game. Now I have to rebuild my deck every game. Now, this one's really cool, and the way they do damage and handle it's different than most deck builders, where deck builders will do like, oh, you got to put this wound card in that fluffs up your deck. This one's different. When you take damage, you have to discard cards from your hand, and if your deck runs out, you're knocked out. Yeah, I like it. It's a great game. I actually think you would like it a lot. I just think it's another one that's also dependent upon, since it's a co-op. But I don't know how you would feel about the randomness, because the only way to mitigate the randomness in this is get more dice. There's no, oh, I get to, there's some things that let you re-roll, but there's no, oh, this gives me pluses. No, yeah, you just get more dice. I mean, some things give you more pluses, but
give more odds, I guess you can say.
Yeah. So you can be like, oh, I need a 5. Okay, well then I'll get 5 dice. I mean, there's some things that give you pluses too. So that's why I like, you can choose how to build your deck. If you feel like the dice is too random, build your deck to mitigate the randomness then. But yeah, great game. I love it.
I will say this, the top 5 that we're going through here, in my own opinion, any one of these could be like number 1, number 2, number 3. Any one of them could be interchangeable with any one of them. So to me, they're all kind of in the same boat, but I had to put them in a certain order.
Yeah, like I said, that's the reason I have to do it. Numbers. I'm a numbers guy.
The top 5 can rotate. Like Star Wars Rebellion can be number 1. If it's at the table, I'm going to play Rebellion, or if this game's at the table, I'm going to play that one. So it's kind of hard to judge, hey, this is number 1 or this was number 5. The top 5 to me, in my opinion, and this is just me and mine, is either one of those could be number 1.
Yeah.
Or either one of those could be number 5.
Well, like I said, we already got the trash games out, 11 through 100.
So, have you ever, like old school Nintendo, you'd go rent a game or go buy a game, and it would give you like an options menu, right? You go in there and it'd be like, select the difficulty. I'd always pick extra hard, superstar, or whatever difficulty it is. And that's how I feel about this one. It's called Uprising: Curse of the Last Emperor. A 4X co-op game. Dice rolling with dice mitigation. Obviously, I'm not a big dice fan, but the reason why this one moved up so much for me is the expansions fixed the mitigation. You have asymmetric characters exploiting resources on a board. It's tough battles, but it's thematic. Very thematic. Your dice rollers are these droids that come in and help you mitigate your dice.
Druids, yeah.
You
said droids.
Droids?
Yeah, druids. Yeah, man.
Because, number 1 through 5 can be interchangeable. What's cool about this game is you don't necessarily have to go out and attack these other factions in the game. The actual factions in the game can attack each other. They're called the Chaos and Empire. So that everybody's against everybody, including the AI. So AI can attack AI, which kind of helps weaken the AI characters in there. You have a faction that the theme of this game is this land is full of chaos and full of curses, and this one big humongous government that reigns over everything with all these emperors and all these big gigantic guys you have to beat. They come out, and you're this little bitty old faction that's trying to survive in this cold wilderness, and your survivability game is based off how many victory points you can get. Yeah, you can defeat these guys, but you get victory points by your survivability. Sometimes you won't be able to beat them, but you're not always going to be out of the game. That's the one bad thing I tell about this game is it can feel overwhelming and very punishing, but you have to think about ways how to overcome it. And that's where it goes back to the Nintendo thing where I put it at the hardest difficulty. That's where this game lies for me is it's really hard. There's a story base. There's times that I feel like I'm not playing the game right or something's going wrong here, but to get victory points in this game, you really have to earn them. You really have to earn the victory points in this game. And it's just not one of those, work or place, put a guy here and get a point. So, anyways, Uprising, one of my favorite games. It's moved up because of the expansions, fixed a lot of the dice rolling mitigation, and it makes the druids a lot more powerful and a lot more helping in the battles that you do in this game.
I'll agree with you on that. I told you this is one I'm going to play solo and try it out again because everything about this game I should love. I do. This is the first time you brought up about the video game thing, and that makes a little bit more sense. See, I'm the opposite. I never went to easy though. So it's not complete opposite. I never turned it to easy. I always felt like when I played a video game, I wanted to play what the game designer put. Like the game designer designed the game to be at this, so I want to experience what the game designer wants me to experience. Now, if I enjoy the game a lot, I'll up the difficulty. But my only issue with this one was you and me disagree on this one a lot. I feel like it tweaked the mitigation a little bit. My biggest issue, if I had to call anything, which it just don't feel like a co-op game to me. I wish there was more. And they added the allies, which do allow a little bit more. But I wish there was just a little bit more co-op in this. And like I said, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Me and you talk about this all the time. I know we're doing a video to where y'all don't hear us talk about it. But that's my ultimate issue with it, is I feel like there's not much. Like, if you're over there getting kicked in the teeth and you're not able to get something going and you're going to lose us the game because, yeah, I can come over there and beat your guys, but if you don't know how to get your engine going in this game, even if I open it up for you to where you don't have to fight any bad guys. You're just going to build the engine, and you still don't build the engine. We could lose the game because of it. And it's not so much just taking a loss because of that. I just feel like there's nothing co-op-wise that I can do other than go, hey, let me quarterback you and teach you how to play your guys. So I wish there was a little bit more of that. I do like the 4X element of it. I do like the element that you can make these two factions fight each other. That is great. Or, hey, what I say, no co-op, but I could be like, hey, if you can come over and take care of this guy, then I can maybe go do some other stuff.
Or trade. If you're in the same spot as another leader.
I feel like the trade doesn't really mitigate enough. I don't know.
Some factions, their guys don't need food. Yours might need 5 food to build this massive military unit.
No, I love, as much as you sit there and talk about all this stuff, one of the things I love about the game, I love playing this game. I love playing the way the actions work. I love the way you use the factions work different. I love dice rolling, so I should love this game. I love dice rolling. It's just too long.
It's overwhelming, and it could be overwhelming and punishing.
It's a 4-turn game, really. I mean,
4 chapters.
4 chapters, but
you get 8 turns per person.
Why should it take 3 to 4 hours for 4 chapters? It is long. I like everything else about it.
It's a rolling. It's the battles that you have to do.
And it just, we always talk about this in a different term. Like, it feels like it's punching you in the I'm going to go with the gut. It feels like it's, instead of what I normally say, it feels like it's punching you in the gut. And I will say the expansion took it back, and now instead of getting punched in the gut, it's more of a slap in the face.
I didn't say it was overwhelming and punishing.
Yeah. Well, and it's not so much that it's overwhelming that I don't like about the game. It's just, it feels like it feels kind of like what I say about Agricola. To me, it feels like more the game is playing me than I'm playing the game. Like, yeah, I get some options. I get to do this. I get to open this up and do this. But at the end of the day, the game's just playing me. And I'm going to try it solo. Maybe it's one of those games I would just like more solo because then I can not worry so much about other things. I don't know.
What's cool about the solo, though, is you can play with one faction, or you can play with the max amount of factions you can play with. So you can actually set up solo mode and play each faction as you go around.
Which I don't like playing two-handed. That's
you can play four-handed.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But no.
That's what's cool about it. That's why it's up there.
I backed this. I even backed the Kickstarter or the expansion. It bubbled for me this year. Well, the year we're talking about here, it was like 110 or something like that. This is one of the ones when we were sitting there when we were talking about, oh, it's one of your top 10 games. I was like, I think I like all your top 10 games. I was like, oh no, I know one that I don't like. And this, well, as far as like, that's not in my top 100, because I think all your top 10s have been in my, they've either been in my, oh well, now there's another one that will not be in my top 100, I can guarantee it.
It's uprising.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's a good game. I know why it's getting the reviews it's getting for people like you that like the punishing, like the. I just wish it was a little bit more co-op. I really do. I wish it was a little bit more co-op, and I wish I had a little bit more control over what I can actually do instead of reacting. It just feels like that's all I'm doing in the game is I'm reacting, and it feels like, oh, let me build up this force so I can just throw it at this thing, so that my next turn can be, let me build up this force so I can throw it at this thing. Every time I play it, I enjoy playing my faction. I enjoy doing all that. I just don't enjoy the game. I guess just personal taste. But yeah, good game. And yeah, I just put it as number 4 for you. I didn't think it'd be number 2. Well, when you said droids, I said it's because it should be your number 2.
They're interchangeable, right?
Yeah. My number 2, we don't have to beat that dead horse. As I said, we talk about it more, but we don't need to. Star Wars Rebellion.
It's that great of a game.
Yeah, I've always had good experiences with it. I like Star Wars. Well, I like old Star Wars.
And you wouldn't like. There's a lot of games over there that are based off of movies and things like that, and they're not good.
Yeah, typically you put an IP on something, it's terrible.
Good. But this one here is just a really good game.
And everybody's asking for expansions to it. Do we need it? Do you need more expansions to it?
You already got one.
Yeah, but do you want more? Like
the one makes sense, right? Because it sets the precedence of.
Well, it puts in my daddy. Right, but
barring from the fact that you don't like the character, it puts it sets the prequel to it, right, or the precedence.
Well, really, what it does, it fixes issues that were in the game that people had. It fixes. There was a certain way I would play the game before the expansion, where I would just eliminate all your people as the Empire. It eliminates that. It definitely changes a lot, but yeah, we don't have to belabor the point. If you like Star Wars, this is Star Wars in a box. It catches the IP perfectly. There's story. I feel like every time I play this game, even if it was kind of a meh game where not much happened, I still have a story to tell. Like, this happened in this game because of this game. So it's always bringing memory, and that to me means you have to be enjoying the game if you're bringing a memory into the game. So, long, be ready. When people ask for something, it's like Axis and Allies I'm like, do you like Star Wars? This has got kind of now it is 2-player. You could play it 4-player or 3-player, I guess, where people are kind of sharing a faction and getting control over ground units or fleet, general or admiral. It's got the hidden deduction.
We need to play that. I mean, did we play it this year?
Yeah, that was the one where I just abandoned the base. Right. Yeah. It was just really easy. It was just really fast. No, I love it. Great game.
My number one is Scarface 1920. Finally, a game of my favorite time in American history. Finally, they came out with something. Now they have several mobster type games and what is it we played with Corleone's Empire, whatever. They have that one that's the pick up and delivery type game, but this one here, if you like Prohibition times, the 1920s, this one's going to set the theme and set the standard for you. You play as a gang trying to earn money during the Prohibition times, and we all know during Prohibition, alcohol sales were banned, right? So you got asymmetric characters, area control, resource management, and the one thing I like is highly thematic. You got a little bit of deck building. You got to avoid Elliot Ness and the raids that happen. It's got really cool miniatures, and they just came out with a Kickstarter that has some expansions to it, some in-game point type stuff, and some extra characters that I really hope that are really going to make the game even better than what it is. That brings to the bad thing of the game. The game itself can ruin your plans by events or raids. They are random, and it's based in Chicago. It's not based in some fantasy land that some game maker came up with. It's actually based in Chicago. So you got north, south, east, north, south side, west side, north side of the Chicago times that actually Prohibition was battling. So my favorite game, it's going to be up there for a while, especially with these expansions they're coming out with and more characters to play with, is Scarface 1920.
I mean, this would be the adventure game that I talk about. Like, if you just want to sit around, chill, have fun, this would be that. I don't know if it'll make my top 100. We'll see. It didn't get a chance in this one because we didn't talk about this at the beginning. You always have a evolving list. You're always constantly keeping your list updated, whereas I only work at mine. Like, I just now started mine for this year. If we play a new game today, I've already started my list. So there's no chance of it being in there until next year. So Scarface would be that thing. I'll see if this gets up my top 100. My only issue with it is, and you've hit it, but I'm not the only one. This is everywhere online. Everybody who's critiquing it, even people who are giving it an 8 or 9 are saying the same issues I have with the game. It's too random for how long the game is. If this game was an hour and a half, I wouldn't mind the stuff you're talking about. The raids, the way your engine gets shut down. If it's an hour and a half for that randomness, No, it's a good game. If you don't mind, hey, just try to grab as much money as you can, knowing that random stuff's going to happen to you. Everything else you said about it's great. You can just go and do whatever you want. It is very sandbox. It is very, like I said, it's just like if I was talking about with Runebound, Western Legends, Nemesis, that sandbox, you want that genre, you want that feel, and you're just sitting around and you don't care what happens. You're just having some adult beverages and chilling. But this is a terrible one for if you want to just sit and play quick game, or you need to set up a day for this, kind of like Twilight Imperium-esque, stuff like that.
Is it sandbox season?
Yeah, because you can go do whatever you want. Perfect example, you can build a deck, and I ain't saying you're going to win with it, but it's go do whatever you want. It's the same thing with, because, perfect example, oh, he's over there blowing people up, murdering people. That guy's over there killing people. I have a brothel. But yeah, let's raid me, cops. Yeah, that's great. Like, no, like I said, I would like the game if it wasn't so random, for how long it is. If it was an hour and a half for that randomness, I could get into it, sure. That's the only thing that's going to hurt everything. Everything else I do like. Everything you said I do like about the game. It is cool in the regards of how the characters, I don't know if they play so different. Like, yeah, the bosses do, but the factions don't. We'll see if the expansions fix some of that. But no, everything else is cool. Like, you can go off, like you said, go to the authorities, fix any issues you have there. You can go, I don't really mess with the underground that much, unless I'm wanting to recruit.
The bad stuff.
But if I was going to do that, I would just go I'd play Capone. Because I would just deck build with Capone, because now I don't have to send people to the underground. Because I don't like the bad guy, so I just want to be the bad guy. I'm just not that cool into that. But no, this is the game I did. I backed it, and I did even back the expansions. This is the same reason. I was looking for a mobster game. I even tried Nothing Personal was kind of my mobster game, I think. I know you liked Corleone's War. I didn't really like that one. I thought it was just too random. But see, that randomness I could deal with for an hour and a half. This I felt was just too random. But other than that, no, it's a great game. If you like that style of game, like this, if anything, this was a killer for Sons of Anarchy for me. Because this was Sons of Anarchy with more to do. I could deck build. I could do other things. And see, that's the reason I caught on to the feeling that it was too random for its length of time, because I feel like Sons of Anarchy is super random too, because of dice rolling and whatnot. But it's an hour and a half. Yeah, so it's quick. So that's the reason I touched on that without even reading what other people were saying. I was like, this is what I have a problem with. And then, sure enough, I'm reading other people's reviews. Like, yeah, that's the issue I'm feeling. Like, yeah, random for 3 to 4 hours. But other than that, no. If it's like I said, I put it in that adventure thing. If you just want to sit and have fun, yeah, man, great game. Like, sit and have fun and chill with everybody, and y'all are just playing out your turns and doing things. Yeah, great game. I do enjoy it. As much as you think I'm miserable the whole time I'm playing it, I enjoy what I'm doing to a degree. I wish I had a little bit more control over what I was doing, but yeah. I do enjoy it. My number one's not a surprise. It's been there.
Bet it starts with an S.
It does. It's Scythe. So much to the point that when I'm doing my top this year, anytime I hit anything that's been in my top 100, comparing it to something else, I stop. Because like normally I'm just sitting there using put people. I'm like boop, 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 just hitting left and right. Anytime I hit something now that especially this game, Scythe's my number one. I stop, lean back, and I literally put myself in a perspective of what's on that table, what do I want to play? So we're going to see if it stays there. I don't know why this one. I really actually feel bad that it does. Like, I almost want something to beat it. Like, there's no reason why I should like this game so much. There's no reason this should be my number one. There are so many games that if you asked me, I would say, let's play that over Scythe. But when I do the comparisons, at the end of the day, Scythe ends up my number one. And I know you talked about this last time we did our video. I don't know, man. It plays different for me every time, depending on how people play out. I do not like 7-player like a lot of people do. I don't know why. To me, it feels too constricted. It feels like very faction dependent. If you are playing 7-player, you literally shut people out of the game. And I've already talked about it. I don't like a game that shuts people out of the game. Now, as I say this, one of the things I do like about this game is, unless you have a new player, and even if you have a new player, you're probably only adding an extra 30 minutes to the game. For the most part, if you have a new player, or if you're playing this game, it can be done in an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're done with this very, now, I was going to say a very big game. Now, one thing that I think gets misconstrued for people who do not like this game when they first play is because they go into it the wrong, and that's the reason when I teach it, I always teach it different. First thing I always tell someone is everything out here on the map that you see, these giant mechs and all that, this is a Euro game. Be aware of that. Think of the map and everything as a giant tracking device that's just letting you know your whole gameplay is going to be only on your board. And this is just tracking what resources you can get, where your resources are at, what you can do in combat. It's all just a tracking device. Your whole gameplay is on the board, but I love that game.
I sped that game up last time, and I thought I won.
Yes.
It was 17 turns.
I thought you won, too.
Yeah, 17 turns.
Yeah, I thought you...
Yeah, it only took 17 turns. I was like, yes, I got this. 17 turns.
I thought you won it, too. When I pulled it out, I was like, oh, well, you should have known Daddy had this game. But no, I thought you had the game, and then all of a sudden it was like I was just higher up on the pot. People love me. I can't help that. No, yeah, I do like this game a lot. I almost to the point, like I said, it keeps hitting number 1 for me, but...
The one bad thing, though, is you might get an event that might give you something amazing.
I do not like the new encounter sets.
Yes. And you get, like, a mech or something that actually moves you along on your stars.
The more I'm playing it with that new encounter deck, but I'm a completionist, so I have to play with everything. I do not like the new encounter set. I agree with you. I don't know why I do not like it. But I'm a completionist. I have to play with it. But yeah, I do not like the new encounter sets. I really don't.
All the way across the map to get this encounter, and it's like, oh, you get 2 wood.
I typically don't do that anyways. Like, I'll take my one in front of me. I think that's actually a problem. I think I've seen a lot of people, they get too
wrapped up in the encounter.
Too focused on, oh my God, there's an encounter over there, let me shoot. No, don't get me wrong. If in my movement I can happen to get to it, it's like, sure.
There's only one faction that I think would benefit from those is the one that can jump to an empty home base, right? Isn't there a faction that can?
Well, the white faction is the one that benefits the most from it. Polania? Poland. It's Polish, Poland, but Polania or something like that. They benefit the most from it, but the problem is they're hard to get out because you have to either get the water movement or whatever. Yeah, I could talk about this game all day.
Is there a faction that can move across the board to another
if you play 7-player. Oh, you're talking about the red. You're talking about the Russians. Yeah, if you.
There's one that can move from base to base if there's an empty base.
No, that is, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
that's the one I played, right?
Yeah, no, the yellow, Crimea, yeah. I played the game a lot. Like, this is definitely what we played my 100th game. Was it this year?
So you should win every time,
right? No. And y'all love rooting for me to get the Japanese, which is the faction I don't like playing the most.
Well, if you don't have 7 players, their traps are useless.
No, I disagree. I love just running out in the middle and just going.
Well, if that's the only place you put one that's beneficial, yeah.
No, I usually run out and put one on the.
If the money goes for the factory, then it's a useless trap.
No, I usually put one on my mine. That way I can teleport back to my mines at any time. I think. Actually, that's my issue. My issue with 7-player is I feel like if you play 7-player, the Celts and the Japanese factions are useless. You literally make them terrible because with 7-player you constrict the board so much that if they don't get out there in time, you just now shut them out of the game. I mean, they can sit back and try to build up resource at that point, but because they are so slow, and actually the Celts, most people think they're not fast. They are super fast, but they got to shoot out there. And if you play 7-player, especially with the green faction, because white and blue can literally pinch them off, and now they're stuck, and there's not much they can do. And that's where I have my problems with 7-player. And it can still happen with 5 if someone is playing Celts and you got the blue and the white faction coming in. But then there's at least more of the board that you're leaving open to everyone else. So if they're cutting you off, then they're just leaving the board open to everyone else. So I think the sweet spot on that game is 5-player. And I know I wish I could say there was a game I like more than Scythe, but I do. I enjoy playing it. And you thought it was a lot that I played it online, but no, actually I played it a lot in person. Like, I do like this game a lot. I wish something would come up and beat it. We'll see if it happens. Actually, the game I thought would beat it, it's actually moving down for me. I just noticed. I was like, oh man, how's that happening? So I don't know. We'll see. But no, yeah, that's our top 10. Yeah, well, there's probably gonna be a lot of edits in there as I edit out things. I don't like trashing on each other's games too much, but
I only said one thing bad about any of them.
Yeah, I know. I try not to be critical. I think a lot of it is some of these games we're so passionate. Yeah, right.
It's gonna be me talking.
I think a lot of these games we are so passionate about.
We're one of the people to enjoy them. You know?
Yeah.
We're one of the people that enjoy Scythe, and when we play, only one dude pulls off 1 star, and you're like, where?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. They just stare at that board.
And yeah, these are a personal choice. Same with anyone else. Just because we don't like the game, or I may say something, that's personal choice. Just like we saw. Like, did any of our top 10? Oh yeah, we had one top 10 crossover. Rebellion, yeah. But yeah, and I called it. I just put Western Legends and Nemesis.
Further down for me.
Yeah, I put it like in this order.
Oh.
Those are the ones I knew, but then I didn't realize Uprising was number 2. I put Scarface. Yeah, I knew that. I knew you loved that game so much, but I knew you liked the theme and stuff like that. No, but yeah, this whole personal choice. Hopefully y'all enjoyed these videos. We'll do it again this time. Hopefully not take all year to get these filmed. Yeah. It was just a scheduling thing, and then I wanted to always include a third person. Maybe we will this year or something. Yeah, I already started working on my next top 100. We'll see what happens.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.